This paddle might be the Friday Fever's worst nightmare. What's up guys, and welcome back to the West Side. We've got another paddle review for today. This time it's the Fryer 01 from Pan Pickleball. Yet another paddle that's under $100 that's bringing some serious competition to the table, and I think you guys are gonna like this one. But before we dive in, make sure you guys stick around till the end of the video because I'm doing a giveaway and one of you is gonna win a brand new Fryer 01. Now without further ado, let's get into it. I'm gonna start with this video and talk about something a little bit different, which is the unboxing experience, which is something I never do, but I feel like I have to mention it. This is without a doubt the nicest unboxing experience that I've ever had on a pickleball paddle. I mean, for under $100, you are getting a really nice presentation. You get the box, very similar to like a Yola Pro 4 box. You're getting not just the box though, you're also getting a paddle eraser, you're getting an extra over grip, and then on top of that, you're also getting a sleeve for your paddle. That's insane. I have no idea how they were able to fit all that stuff and keep this package under $100, but props to Pan Pickleball for being able to do this. I think the only other unboxing experience that is as amazing as this is the Project 007, but you have to pay $333 to get that experience. With the Fryer, this is still a top tier experience and you get a ton of bonuses that most other companies don't even think about giving their customers, which is a really nice addition to see. I hope more companies start doing this because this is very welcomed. Now to briefly go over the dimensions of the Fryer, this is gonna be a classic elongated paddle. You're gonna have 16.5 inches long by 7.5 inches wide. You got a nice 5.5 inch long handle. The average weight is gonna be 8.0 ounces. Your thickness is 16 millimeters. It's gonna have a carbon fiber face layup. The grip is 4.25 inches in circumference. It feels a little bit thicker, but we'll get to that more in a little bit. Now, I don't have any x-rays of this paddle, but according to Pan Pickleball, it is gonna have foam in the perimeter of the paddle, and it's also gonna be thermoformed. And from what I've noticed from all the Gen 3 paddles that I've played with foam in the edges, if I press down on the edges, I can feel the paddle give a little bit. With this one, I really don't feel it give, so I don't know what kind of foam they're using. I'm not sure if it's an EVA foam or something else because it doesn't give that much. So I can't tear this thing open and see on the inside. I'll just have to take their word for it and trust them saying that there is a foam layer around the outside. Something very interesting that I noticed is that this shape is almost identical to my Perseus Pro 4. If I go ahead and hold this up to each other, I don't know if you can tell, the handle length is almost identical. The total length is basically identical. Even the shape, like they have the same exact silhouette, which I don't know if it's a coincidence because I know most elongated shapes, they're gonna be in the ballpark, they're gonna be similar, but this is like almost like spot on identical. I'm not really complaining because I like my Perseus Pro 4. So if they're keeping the exact same shape, hey, might as well do what works, right? Moving on with the performance, I'm gonna start giving this disclaimer every single time because it feels like everybody is like an expert on paddle feel and everybody knows exactly how it feels. And everybody's always arguing in comment sections. I always find it saying, no, this paddle's not soft, it's firm. And someone else is saying, no, it's not a power paddle, that's an all court paddle. Look, all these paddles are gonna vary between each person, especially because each person feels a paddle differently. What I may feel is stiff, may be not that stiff to another person. What I think is a power paddle might actually be a control paddle to somebody else. I'm just gonna go based off of whatever I felt on this paddle and give you my best opinion possible on what I think of this paddle, how it feels, how it plays, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Starting off with the Fryer's redeeming qualities, I first thought this was going to be a drawback, but this has actually turned out to be quite beneficial. This paddle comes in at 8.3 ounces. Now, I know what you're thinking like, whoa, isn't that already like super heavy? It kind of is. 8.3 starting out, that is quite heavy. And I did notice that even the swing weight didn't feel that light. It felt slightly top heavy. And I was already wondering like, why would they weight their paddle at 8.3 ounces stock? The average is 8.0. So I'm not sure what the differentiation is when it comes to some of these paddles. Mine came in at just 8.3, but it's very playable right out of the box. When you grab this paddle and you start playing with it, it feels like you already weighted it, which at first I thought I was gonna hate that it was 8.3 because I'm a big fanatic when it comes to hand speed. I thought this was gonna hold me down. It actually didn't feel like it was holding me down that bad. It just felt like a weighted paddle, like if I already added my lead tape on the sides. As you can see, I have not added any lead tape because this paddle already feels decently balanced right out of the box. Comparing this to the Friday Fever, the Friday Fever was like insanely light. It was like 7.7 ounces. And I said that that was a good thing because you can add weight. But for the average player that just takes this out of the box and wants to start playing, I think this is actually more balanced than the Friday Fever because I ended up adding a little bit of weight to my Friday Fever, like 0.2 ounces. It ended up at 7.9 ounces. This is already at 8.3, and I actually like the way it feels more than the Friday Fever. When it comes to power and pop, It's definitely in the all court category. I think it's on the lower to mid end of all court. Sometimes it just depends. There were some times where I thought the pop was kind of shining through a little bit, like, hey, that actually felt pretty good when I would, hit the ball. But then there was other times where I was like, yeah, you know what, it is lacking just a little bit. Maybe adding weight would help, but we'll get to that more later. My drives and my blocks felt good. They felt solid, nothing too fast, but I also wasn't struggling to get any power on my drives. It still had more power overall than the Friday Fever. So I guess that's a good thing depending on what you're looking for. If you're looking for a power paddle, this is definitely not a power paddle, but it's very comfortable to play with. I was not scared of hitting my balls over or hitting them out of bounds or worried that my pop was gonna get me in a really bad situation. I felt comfortable the entire time playing with this paddle. Now, I think the best thing about this paddle by a long shot is the grit. I am absolutely shocked that this passed some sort of USAP approved regulation for the amount of face grit that you can have. This is not grit, okay? This is literally rocks on your paddle. This is crazy. I don't know if this is just another variation again from the factory. This one, I just got lucky and I just got a really rough face layup for the carbon fiber. But dude, this is even more than Infinigrit. And my 007, when I got that Infinigrit on there, that thing was awesome. It had tons and tons of grit. It still does. This beats that. There's more grit on here than even my Pro 4. My Pro 4 was pretty smooth. And again, comparing this to the Friday Fever, because I'm gonna keep on doing that, my Friday Fever felt like there was almost like no carbon fiber on the face whatsoever. It felt like spray on grit almost. This is like otherworldly grit. I love it. I really, really do. I think that this helps it with the spin a lot. There's not a lot of dwell time on the paddle, so it actually makes up for the lack of dwell time and it kind of balances out with the spin. I don't have any numbers or metrics, but from what I can tell, I could really feel the Fryer bite into the ball and allow it to spin a little bit more than some of these other paddles that I have on my wall. If this Fryer had more dwell time, if it had like a foam core and kept the same carbon fiber grittiness, dude, I think it would be absolutely top tier for spin. I think that adding that extra dwell time would take this paddle like over the top, and I would really consider playing with this way more often than I was. It actually got me pretty excited because this is Pan Pickleball's only paddle that they're selling right now. So if they can come out with other paddles that have foam paddles or they have more dwell time while keeping this carbon fiber layup, the same grit level, hey, I'm all for that. I will say the sweet spot was average. I know that it's already kind of heavy. I don't think it helped out that much for sweet spot. I would say it's medium, a little less than medium on the sweet spot. I kind of expected it. It's an elongated paddle. I didn't expect it to perform crazy like a wide body or even a standard body. You're gonna expect it to have a suffering sweet spot in some area. For this paddle, it's definitely in this lower area. Now getting into some of the things that I wish the Fryer did a little bit better. Even though this handle does not have the atrocious over grip that the Friday Fever has, this thing is very boxy. I mean, it's thick, dude. I know I added an over grip on top, but like even like stock handle, it feels like a square. I really don't like that. I don't like the paddle feeling super thick in my hand. I said it in one of my other reviews already with the Pro 4. I don't like my paddle handles to be feeling like I'm holding a tennis racket. I want it to feel like a pickleball paddle, but this is just a personal preference thing. If you like chunky, blocky handles, hey, good for you. For me, I don't like that. Another big thing to consider if you're gonna play competitive and want to consider customizing your paddle is that this paddle does not have a lot of room for customization. Like I said, for the average player that just wants to pick up and play, this is a good thing, but for competitive players, I think this is a huge drawback to not have the options for customization. Once you start adding lead weight on this, it's really gonna jump up in numbers. Like if you wanted to add 0.4 ounces, I had 0.2 on one side, 0.2 on the other, that's gonna bring it up to about 8.7 ounces already. I don't even want to know what the swing weight would be at 8.7 ounces. Most people don't want a paddle that's too heavy. So you're going to be pretty limited when it comes to customization with this. Now, because of that weight, again, that static weight at 8.3 ounces, it did have a little bit slower hand speed compared to some of my other paddles that are already weighted. So not the biggest fan with that. I do like my paddles to be a little bit quicker in the hand right out of the box. If my paddle's already slow out of the box, it's not really boding well because again, I want to put lead tape on it. I want to balance it out if I have to. Good thing this paddle is already decently balanced because if this had a poor balance or if it was even more top heavy and at 8.3 ounces, I don't think this paddle would be usable. Now this is definitely just going to be personal preference. I think this paddle looks a little too plain. It's all black. And again, if you like a sleek all black look, that's great. I put a blue overgrip on mine just because I needed to have some color, something that stood out just to give my paddle a little bit of character. this paddle is a little bit boring. When I look at it and I just see the all black and very few white on there, I'm like, could have done something, you know, maybe a little bit more with the paddle to make it pop. I mean, even for goodness sake, color the edge guard or give me a white over grip or something, but I don't know, maybe they wanted to go with a clean all black look. If you love black, you'll like this paddle. For me, I like paddles that stand out, paddles that look like the 007 or like the Invader from Bread and Butter, or even the Valera Control 2 Forza. That paddle is insane. That one looks so sick. Now, if you do want nice overgrips like this, you can use my code WestsidePB15 to get 15% off at UDrippin'. They have tons of overgrips there. If you want something to spice up your paddle, check them out. So wrapping it up, I think compared to some of the other paddles like the Friday Fever or the Gearbox G2 or some of the other paddles that are in the $100 price range, it brings some very well-rounded competition. It doesn't have any attributes that stand out over the top, but it also doesn't have any glaring downsides that really just don't want you to pick up the paddle. I know a paddle's not good or I'm not gonna like it when I look at it in my bag and I'm just like, do I really have to play with this right now? I did not get that feeling from this paddle. When I picked it up, I was like, yeah, I can play with it. This will be good. And I would just pick it up, play with it. It was a fun time. It wasn't like an insane over-the-top experience that you get from some of the other power paddles that you play with. Like I said, I think this is a very comfortable paddle. It sits very firmly in the all-court category, lower end of all-court category. And I think most people are gonna enjoy it no matter what. They're not gonna be complaining about it too much. They're just gonna have a good time playing with this stock form. As far as durability goes, I'll have to wait and see because I really haven't had it for that long, so I still have to put it through its paces. But if I had to choose between the Friday Fever or the Fryer from Pan, I would actually go with the Fryer from Pan. The grit was miles ahead of the Friday Fever. It had a little bit more power. The overgrip was not that disgusting one from Friday Fever. Even though the handle did feel really chunky, it's not nearly as bad as the overgrip that they add for the Friday Fever. And I think one thing that nobody can overlook is the value that this Fryer is giving you when you open up that box. When you open up that box, it's got the eraser, it's got that overgrip, it's got that sleek neoprene cover, and it comes with a really nice presentation in that clean looking box that even looks like a YOLO Pro 4-1. I don't think you can beat that. Even that will satisfy a lot of customers, knowing that the company cares enough to give them these little things that you'd normally have to buy on the side for $10, $8, $12, $30, whatever it may be if it's the cover. They're already giving that to you right out of the box. I'm really hoping that more companies catch on to that and start adding things like that, because that will just be like a really nice quality of life change to the pickleball paddle industry. Now, even though the Friday Fever even looked cooler and more flashy than this Fryer, I would argue that the Friday Fever feels a little bit more lower quality than this Fryer 01. And I think a big reason for me feeling like that is because when I first got my Friday Fever, the edge guard was lifted on both sides already. It was lifted right here and it was lifted right here. And whenever you open up your paddle and you want to play with it, the last thing you want to see is a defect. I get it, defects happen. It can happen to anybody, but it happened to me on my Friday Fever and it didn't happen to me on my Fryer. So all it takes is one good experience and one bad experience for someone to be turned off from one paddle, but turned on to another one. Now, the good news is that one of you will be getting a brand new Fryer 01 from Pan for free. All you have to do is follow them on their Instagram and then comment on my comment section, Pan Fryer. You have to do both of those things. Make sure that you stay following them on Instagram and do not delete your comment, because once they run the contest and they pick their winner at random, if you ended up unfollowing them on Instagram or you delete your comment, you're not gonna be entered to win this paddle. Pan Pickleball will be choosing the winner at random and they will be getting in contact with you. I will also be posting the winner on this video in the description once I found out who the winner is, so everybody can know that the person won. And if any of you guys want to buy a Pan Fryer, you can always go to their website in the description and you can use my code ZACH200 for 10% off of your paddle. Thanks for sticking around to the end. If you guys want to see more paddle reviews, more comparisons, and even more giveaways like this one, you can support this channel by liking this video and hitting that subscribe button. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys again on the west side.